Okay. All right, we are live. So with that, thank you all for coming today, making time out of your Friday. I thought 12 was a good time because you all usually attend ICC meetings during Fridays at this time anyway. So I hope that's okay with you all. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order at 12:07 p.m. Friday, March 5th. If we could go ahead and do a roll call super quickly. Uh, Amend,
Here.
do you club? Caduceus Club is absent today. Yes, that's right. InterVarsity Christian Fellowship,
Here.
Third Wave.
Here.
And so we have one member absent, but we do have quorum right now. So we did establish quorum. If I could go ahead and now entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for Friday, March 5th, 2021. Could I have a first for that, please?
Amend the first motion.
Okay, and then could I have a second on that, please?
Third Wave seconds that motion.
Okay, and then Sylvia, if I could get your vote super quick.
I vote yay.
Okay, thank you. So we have a unanimous motion to go ahead and adopt the agenda. Thank you for that. If there, I don't think there are any opposed or extensions because we all voted on that. But with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and move just first into public comment on non-agenda items. We do not have any in the YouTube, but I know there's a lag, so I will go ahead and present any if there happens to be some. But we only have one discussion item today, and that one discussion item is ICC funding procedures. And with the funding procedures, Carrie and I did a little bit of a remodel, a little bit of makeover of the funding procedures in regards to how they will be this semester. I know, Sylvia, a lot of this will look, a lot of it will look familiar to you, but a lot of it we kind of tweaked a little bit. It's so, yeah, let me go ahead and dive right into it. So for those of you who have done funding last semester, this might look familiar. This is kind of the how-to document with all of the links, like acting as a hub to direct all of our ICC members how to ask for money and where to, you know, get their money once they have submitted their request. So I'm going to go through it step by step. I'm going to go through it and show you how it is to students on the front end on Lancer Live, and then how you as the community members on the back end being given administrative access to look at these forms, what you need to look for to approve these pieces of paperwork as they come in. So I'm going to go through like the front end first, and obviously the front end first part of it will be this document. So first, let me go ahead and zoom in so you can all see it. First, obviously, the club has to schedule a meeting on Lancer Life, and that is through the club meeting request form. So if I go to forms here, I'm sure you all have done it already being ICC representatives or officers of your clubs, but you go through here, you go to club meeting request form, and then you hit start and you just schedule a meeting where you do club business. During the meeting, a couple of things have to happen. First thing is that they have to establish a budget for the event. And what we mean by a budget is they have to fill out a like a little brief list or form of what they would like to have at the event, and what that looks like is this. It's like a super simple basic sheet: event title, purpose, how many people are going to come, and then the second page, which is each item they want to buy. I know we're not supposed to have food, but like, you know, if they were to have a pizza party or whatever, they would put like pizza and then plates and then cups and then whatever else is a line item, and then total it up at the end there. So that's what they're supposed to do during the meeting. What we highlighted here is to make sure they didn't violate any of the funding criteria. And this is something I'm going to ask you all to take a look at when you're reviewing the paperwork later. But this basically says, you know, no funding for scholarships. Any funding requests must have full disclosure of all expenditures. So if they violate any of these things, we reserve the right to remove that item from their funding or just reject their funding entirely. So that's just what we asked them to do during the meeting. Next thing after they have the meeting and they plan, obviously, is that they need to fill out an ARF if they're having an event. The ARF needs to be turned into Carrie at least 4 to 6 weeks in advance, so we know what's going on. The link to fill in ARF is here. All that does is take you to this page again, and they have to just start, when they fill out an ARF and have that ready. So with that, if I know a lot of funding this semester isn't specifically tied to any event, so we are allowing clubs to pay for things that are not like tied to an event. Like if they want to pay for, I don't know, like an online subscription to something, that's probably that's okay. If they want to go ahead and pay for, you know, other like digital supplies during this time, that's okay. I can't think of any other things off the top of my head, but our students are creative, so I'm sure they'll come up with things that they want to pay for that aren't tied to an event. So we are asking them to skip directly to step 4 if that's the case. But if they do, and the funding is linked to an event, we just ask that they take a screenshot of the approved ARF that has been submitted. And what this link will take people to is anything you submit on Lance Life, whether you know it or not, is actually recorded in your submissions page. So if I submitted an ARF, I can actually take a look at what I put. I can see Chanita approved it. This is my contact information, where it is, it's on Zoom. So what I would have to do as the student is to basically just take a screen grab of Chanita approving my ARF and the type of event that I'm having, and attach that to the form that's on Lance Life when you request funding. Number 4, and this is where this ICC Spring 2021, so this is kind of the big kahuna form, so to speak, is this one that Carrie and I remodeled the other day. So this form is where they will pretty much throw all that information together from the previous steps, the screenshot of the ARF, the event budget form, all that information goes into that form, and you as the committee members review it. And these last steps here are kind of self-explanatory. After they turn into form, the funding committee, which is us, we will review their application and the ARF if applicable. And this is just information about how often we meet, which you all know already. And then number 6 is something that you don't have to worry about, but you want to read. It's just how they obtain the money and transfer money to a contractor or a vendor if that's the case. But your responsibilities pretty much are 1 through 4, making sure all the paperwork is in order, and evaluating this form on Lance Live just to make sure that they did everything correctly, and to kind of write some notes down before we meet so that we can get these funding requests approved. So with that, I will go ahead and switch over from this sheet. And yeah, for anyone that's more visual, this is the same exact thing as this that I went over, just in a flowchart form. I know some people prefer that. So I'll go ahead and drop the link in the chat for this if you want to make a copy, or if you want to go ahead and save it for your reference. But I will be sending this information out as we train people next week on funding and during my email newsletter. So this will be sent out to everybody soon. But I'll pause here because that was a lot to throw at you. But are there any questions about the process or anything? Carrie, do you have anything you want to throw in?
No, just to see what folks are thinking.
Okay. I know Faison and Taylor, you're new to the process, so if there's any concerns, there are no stupid questions. I know this is
So, actually, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. 1 second.
okay. Sylvia, I don't mean to leave you out too if you have any concerns.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
I don't
fast.
know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know if this was already asked before I had got here. But do I need to go to one of the ICC meeting trainings? Because we have 2 ICC reps in our club.
So we're just asking, yeah, and Carrie and I were actually just discussing this. It's a little bit confusing maybe how I worded it in the email, so I apologize. But we're just asking this semester for just one club officer, whoever it may be, to attend 1 funding training and 1 Lance Live training. So just one of each type. You know what I mean? If that makes
Okay.
any sense. So
Okay.
we have two funding trainings because we know some people have classes or they have work in the daytime. So we have an evening one, and then we have an afternoon one if people just want to like use the lunch break and just sit and learn. So that's our philosophy behind it. It's just we have two of the same workshops, just at different times. So
Okay.
whichever
Yeah, I
one
get that.
best fits your schedule, we're flexible.
Okay. I guess sorry. My question was just if if there's another ICC representative for my club, do they need to go or should it be me that goes?
You can go. I mean, the more the merrier. I think we're
Okay.
only taking attendance for one club officer just because we're honestly kind of piloting because we're tracking people on Lance Drive. We're trying to work with the system and pilot it still. So more people can come, and the more people that has information, that's good. But we're
Right.
just counting attendance for like your club as a whole, if that makes any
Okay.
sense.
Cool. Sounds good.
Sylvia, you have the question too?
You just referred to I think it's number 4,
Yes.
that you revised it with Carrie.
Yeah.
Did you open it? I don't remember.
Revise this Lancer Life form?
But did you show it to us right now?
Not yet. This is like the how-to. I'll be showing you what exactly looks like on Lancer Life, and that's the next part.
Oh, okay. Okay. I will wait.
Faison, you had something? Sorry, I skipped over
Yeah,
you.
no, you're okay. Actually, yes, I do. Sorry about the inconvenience. I had a question. You said in the beginning of your the going over how this works. So there's a separation between funding that is just specifically for events and the funding that are just non-event related things. You're saying, correct? Do they both? They regardless of that, they still have to fill out an ARF form, correct? Does that
So
make sense?
yeah, so if it's not for an event, they don't need to fill out an ARF. But if it's for an event, you need to fill out an ARF.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. So then our non-event things would be, like you said, if they wanted to do a subscription or if they wanted to use their funds for getting, say, like an online program that they all could use, something like that. That just doesn't. We skip over the ARF bill and out of go, and we just take They still have to vote on it, of course, at the meeting and with the minutes, because I've gone through the steps before. So we have to vote on it, or someone has to propose it in a motion in the meeting, we vote on it, and then it gets voted on, and then it's approved, and then we take that, and we fill out then it would go to step number 2, but we're gonna skip over that if it's not an event, correct?
Yep,
Then they would go straight to
exactly.
step number 4 and fill it out. Okay, I was just trying to see, okay, I got it. I was just trying to
Yeah.
stay on page.
No. I mean, I appreciate any feedback. I know Carrie and I tried our best to kind of make it as clear as possible in this document, but understandably so. I think last semester, people were still confused. So if there's any feedback about how to improve this document, I'm open to it. But yeah, so with that, I'll go ahead and show you what step 4 looks like, this funding request form on Lancer Life. So once they go on Lancer Life on the homepage, they can access this by going to forms and ICC funding form. And once they press the start button, you can see here it echoes a lot of the steps that we illustrated on let me zoom in, on the document. So approve your budget at a regularly scheduled meeting, complete an ARF, complete the event budget form. So again, it's just pretty much the same thing for people that want to go over it again or need a refresher. And this click here just leads you right back to the document. So it's kind of like a hub for all the information that we just discussed on this first page here. Next, I just showed you all this, but this was the funding criteria, and pretty much clicking next here is like whenever you sign up for an online service, it's like I agree to the terms. These are the terms. If any of their requests violates like these criteria, we have the right to deny them. So this is where I'm going to fill out a sample because then it will go ahead and drop into your inboxes so we can all kind of experiment and see what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and put associated students. So you have to fill out their club name, their event name or item. I'll just go ahead into AS Zoom party. And then we'll just do, I don't know, tomorrow, 3/6/21. So You have to go ahead and type in the descriptions. So we will be having Zoom party. We will all enjoy a movie. Have you submitted an activity request form? I'll just say yes, because this is a simulated form. And then I'll put down my name here. So as you can see, a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory. Where it gets a little bit tricky, and some people might have difficulty with, but they still have to do it anyway, is this event budget form. They have to fill it out and complete it. What that means is that this will take them to this form that I just showed you here. They will have to download it. And once they download it, you see how this is an interactive PDF, so they can do Zoom movie night, event purpose, whatever. I already have like a sample, I believe, in the background, so I won't be filling this out, but just make sure that, you know, when you fill it out, that you have all these event types and items and everything is accounted for. And as the community members, obviously, you'll be looking on the back end of this and making sure and looking at the paperwork and seeing, do they have an adequate description? You know, is everything totaled up correctly? Right, stuff like that. Does the date of their event match up the ARF? So you're kind of the, you know, the notaries, I guess, of all these things that are coming in. But once they're done with this, they're supposed to save it, and then upload it back to Lancer Live. So they download it, they fill it out, they save it, and then they turn it back into Lancer Live. It's kind of like, I think some professors, they have like assignments on Canvas that are like this. They make you fill out like a PDF and they make you upload something. So this will be that portion where you can upload files. Let me just go ahead and just throw in the sample that I have before. I'll press OK. And this section below here is, Karen and I tried to make this clear, but just know that some people will try and, you know, weasel by with turning in stuff that isn't relevant in this portion here. But what this is any other additional documents that you might need in order to fund your events. So let's say that you approach a company and they give you a quote and you would like to attach that quote as proof of like the exact total. They would attach that PDF here. Let's say like, you know, you're contracting a speaker to come and then they send you something. You can attach that here too. The reason why we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is we know that some events are more complicated than others, and that, you know, you're getting quotes from different companies or different people are involved. So you're going to have a couple of documents on your hand. I know not everybody, and Carrie and I know not everybody has Adobe Acrobat, which is like a paid program that you use to, like, you know, staple all those pieces of digital paperwork together. So that's kind of our way around it. You can just turn in stuff individually, and then we will process it as it comes in. So that's kind of our way of allowing people to have additional stuff if they do have any. I will say I don't anticipate a lot of people using this because a lot of our requests are probably going to be on the simple side, but I think it'll be okay if you know, just make sure you take a closer look at it, because like I said, people are just maybe are going to confuse things and turn in stuff that isn't relevant. So just make sure you review it. Faison, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. I had a question in regards to the last thing you had on the budget. So on the budget form, since we're going to be reviewing that, if you mentioned that we're going to check if their math is correct, right? Is something as simple as their math being off, because you know not a lot of people are good at adding up. Is that something that we would deny their whole request for, or we would just tell them, no, you got to fix this?
Yeah, I mean, it's
That
really honestly up to you as the committee. I personally am not that like you have to put
Yeah.
everything exact, or you're going to be like, if there's a spelling mistake, I'm not going to, you know, like but it's up to you as the committee whether, you know, how strict you want to be on this. If the total is off, I'm not going to personally like be like, okay, this thing is automatically rejected, but I will just put a note during the submission when I review it. And I'll show you later, you can put notes during the review process. This total is off, but all of their items are there. So this seems legit to me. You can like put comments like that, and then the rest of the group can kind of consider it. Again, it's kind of up to you all as individuals. Like if it's off, do you want to dock them or do you want to, right? So it's just up to you. But personally, I'm not too strict on it, if it makes sense.
Yes, yes, that's perfect, because again, that's one of the, I would hate to have to, deny someone off of just a typo. So that's
Right.
great, so it's a subjective thing, so but you said we can add notes, which will then help them out, because, we want to get all these things approved if we can.
Right.
So,
I
that's
mean,
perfect, thank you,
the
sir.
other thing too
If
is
we
that you have to
can.
know that like even like downloading something and filling it out and uploading, that's a challenge for people. Because before we would just have people do a pen and paper thing. So that's part of the other reason of why I'm not too like exact on stuff, because I know people like they're slow typers or they just, there's a digital literacy problem here definitely, right, with a lot of students. So I
Yes, sir.
understand that. I don't want to dock people just because they have difficulty getting things done on the computer. But that's this
Perfect, thank
page
you.
right here. Are there any other questions here? Maybe this is a good time to pause. No? Okay. So I'll go ahead and press next. And these are the meeting dates, as you have all seen on the calendar already. So pretty self-explanatory there. So add reviewers, and this is pretty important. So what this part is the advisor or co-advisor needs to know what's going on in the club. So me trying to submit this event, my advisor is Carrie. So I'm gonna have to put Carrie down as the advisor, and she's gonna have to take a look at it and approve it first before us as a committee can move forward. You know what I mean? So we want to make sure that the correct amount of like supervisors and advisors have eyes on this before we take a look at it, before we can approve it. Because if the advisor doesn't know what's going on and we approve it, that's not a good thing. So they have to have advisors. And so you can't even go next without providing one. So we have to make sure that they do this correctly. I'm just gonna add Carrie here. And then, yeah, see, so that was pretty much it. It's pretty short and sweet, but I just want to go over it just so you guys know how it looks on this end here. So I'm going to go ahead and press submit. And it brings me to my submission page because again, everything I submit is recorded in the system. So that's what it looks like on the Lancer Life end. I know Sylvia is familiar with how it looked like before. Maybe some parts are different because, like I said, Carrie and I remodeled it a little bit at the beginning of the semester. But before I dive into how it looks like on the back room or back end here, are there any questions or any comments? No, yes, Carrie, do you have any?
Nope.
Okay.
Go
So
for it.
yeah, so with that said, now comes the point where I'm going to go through it slowly because not, Carrie and I are familiar with the administrative, how it looks on Lance Life. It might be different for you. So let me know if you don't see certain screens or see certain steps. Yeah, we'll go ahead and dive right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the home page of Lance Life here just to get a fresh start. But I'm going to go ahead and to get to forms, at least for me, and let me know if this isn't the case for you. And I recommend you maybe pulling up Lance Life and trying it for yourself if it doesn't show up. But what I do to get to all the form submissions is I go to this, menu, I don't know what you call it, Tic Tacs here. I go to admin and then I add all this stuff, but then all I want to go to see is configure forms. And then I can go ahead and click through and see the submissions. Can you all see that or are you having issues getting to that page? I'm going to pause here.
Chris,
Yes.
I don't think we have the admin. I think we have explore and manage.
Okay. You have explore and manage.
I'm pretty sure that's all we have.
Okay. If you go to manage, why don't I do this? Let me stop
Yeah, I
sharing.
have
And
Explore and
would
Manage
anybody
too.
be willing to share their screen so I can maybe look at their interface? Because it's hard for me as the admin because I have access to everything. Let me enable
I'll
it.
You
share
can see,
mine.
oh, yeah.
Okay, I enabled it. So whenever you're ready. So click on the tic tacs for me, the squares. Go to manage. Okay. Can you scroll down for me super quick, please? Okay, click on submissions, that little yeah, warning. Yeah, that little box there. Okay, so that's how you get to it. So did everyone follow Phase on there? So he went to the little tic tacs, he went to manage and he scrolled down the submissions.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and go then. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen because I think once you get there, it should look pretty much the same to everybody. And then go ahead and do that. So once I'm in general forms here, don't worry about all this other stuff because like I said, I have access to everything, but you can go ahead and click through, okay, this person submitted a request form. And once you're here, if you're on like a smaller screen, it looks a little bit differently. There's 2 columns, but you see how here you can kind of, you know, expand down and look at all this stuff. So I will ask as the reviewers, expand everything, look at it, make sure, you know, the club name matches with where they're coming from. Their event or item is fully, realized here. Making sure that they have an adequate description. So this first part is pretty self-explanatory. So they will say here, have you submitted an activity request form? Yes. So if it says yes here, this is kind of the most important part. You have to make sure they uploaded like a screenshot and you're gonna pull the screenshot and make sure that, that it looks legit and valid and that they have an ARF. If not, you're gonna go ahead and make a comment up here before you press approve or deny. I realize here that we are missing that step for them to submit the ARF picture, but Karen and I will fix that. Yeah, make sure, this person that's submitting the ARF and this name reflects the screenshot that they upload. If the screenshot is different, just make sure again to put a comment up here. And this is where you can kind of see then this request form supplemental documents. You're going to download the file, same thing with the screenshot. You're going to open it, make sure all the line items are good, make sure the description is thorough, make sure the date of the ARF matches the date of the, see, because right here, there's the date of event here. Make sure all that stuff is kosher. And then you're basically like, auditing their submission, right? Making sure all this stuff aligns, making sure all this stuff matches again, which is why when you were first selected, I made sure to say, make sure you have your critical thinking caps on, make sure, you're very precise on this because we want to make sure that this paperwork is good to go before they have their event or they ask for money. Yeah, so if there are any issues at all as you're downloading it and taking a look, I won't click through because I know we are a little bit short on time here, but you can go ahead and make sure to put a closing comment here. So let's say, okay, ARF screenshot was not turned in, right? What else? What else maybe does the submission have just to simulate that? Line items, and then you're going to approve or deny on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and deny my own submission just to let you all see how that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and press submit. Right, and see, so this is denied, and this will send an automatic email to the student saying, hey, this doesn't look good. This was wrong. Can you please submit again? And they will have to go ahead and submit again if that's the case. But if there's nothing like blatantly wrong, you can just press approve, but just leave a comment saying, right, like all this stuff, has problems, but it's okay. So does that make sense? I'm gonna pause here and see if there's any questions.
Yes, I got one. Sorry, I know that's a lot of questions.
That's
I
okay.
just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing. Okay, so you were saying, in regards to, so is everyone gonna review every submission, right? Everyone does, or is it one person per
Everyone
activity
does.
submission? Okay,
Everyone
perfect.
does
I was
because the
gonna say,
committee has
man,
to
you
vote
might
on
just
it.
get a bad person. Yeah, okay, perfect. And then the committee is made up of you and Carrie and some other people, correct?
The committee is you guys. I mean, you
It's
all.
us. Okay, I thought we were just the review. So we're also, so
You're
when we,
voting on this.
when it,
You've been given,
right.
see on the, see it right here, you said, it says voting reviewers, all of you have been added to this system. So, you know, with great power comes great responsibilities. Make sure to,
Perfect.
right, make sure to, you know, just, I mean, the, yeah, just make sure to leave adequate comments, make sure to make sure everything is checks out. Yeah, and then you should be good. Oh, I will say here, I think I'm the only one that can approve or deny stuff. Hold on.
That's
I
what I
think
meant.
there's,
So that's what I was talking about. So like when you did it, it automatically denied them just straight up. So
right.
when we do it, it'll collectively take our responses and then we'll talk about it
No, no,
in
no.
the
Okay,
meeting.
so hold on. Let me go ahead and see
Yeah,
if I
please.
can. Yeah, no. I think again for me and Carrie, it's a
Hey,
little bit
Chris.
different from what you are. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to look. So Fasan, to answer your question, basically, the program requires that a top admin be the ultimate approval or denial of of the request. So that's why I'm surprised it doesn't have my name, Chris. It usually should be my name.
No, I did it wrong, Carrie. Let me backtrack a little bit. They're
Yeah.
supposed to leave a discussion and the thumbs up and thumbs down, and you and I are the ultimate approve or deny.
Yeah. So, but basically, Faison, I'm going to vote the way the committee votes. It just happens to be that I have to be the admin online to push the button.
Perfect.
Okay.
That answers my question.
So I apologize. Let me backtrack a little bit and let me come back here. Can everyone see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back here to where you went to the Tic Tacs manage general forms, and then we're back here again. So with that, I resubmitted it just to go ahead and revise what I said earlier. But okay, so you as the committee members are a little bit different from me and Carrie. What I meant by disapprove and deny, I think only Carrie and I have ultimate access to this, and you don't, which is okay. But the way you would go ahead and leave comments is, yeah, you would go ahead and expand everything, make sure it checks out. But if you have anything to say, you will actually put it in discussion down here and not up in the closing comments. So I'm gonna go ahead and say the same thing earlier. So line items adequate, right? Did not attach ARF screenshot. And I'll post the comment. And then if any of you want to try and experiment with it right now, you can do that too. You can add like a random comment in discussion and then it'll show up here. And once you're done making your comment and reviewing the submission, as a committee member, pretend this approval box doesn't exist, but you will see your review up here. So you either give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, right, vote to deny. Vote to deny is different from approval. Vote to deny just means that I have like a red mark in the system, but it hasn't been denied and the email hasn't been sent to the student yet. So the idea behind this is during the meeting, when I pull this screen up for that particular piece of paperwork, I'll go ahead and look at the sidebar here and say, Chris denied it, Fason said okay, Sophia said deny, Sylvia said whoever, right? And I'll go ahead and read through the comments and then I'll say Chris denied it because this, and we can have a discussion about it, right? Like we can talk about the comments, we can talk about who voted what and why. And ultimately as the committee, we can decide on whether we want to go ahead and move forward with approving the submission or denying the submission. And Carrie and I will hit that green or red button based on what we talk about. So does that make sense now as what you're supposed to do for as the members?
Yeah, that was perfect. That makes more sense to me because I was like, okay, now it looks like a vote. And
Yeah.
here's my last question, sir. I know we have a little limited time, but what about conflict of interest? So, say for me in my program, I'm usually the one who sends out the paperwork for like if we want to do AFR or an event of some sort, but I can't also review my own.
Right.
That
So
seems
you would just
not logical.
you would just recuse yourself. So your vote just wouldn't, you would just be it would just be like a no vote. Like you wouldn't vote.
Okay.
But the rest of the committee, if they have majority yes, then they will approve it. But you just don't, yeah, You
Yeah,
don't
perfect.
vote on your own thing. Yeah, but that's a good point. So if Taylor, Sylvia, me, and Sophia, who isn't here, say yes, you know, you're good. You just we just would take a no vote for you because you're, again, there's a conflict of interest there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, but that's pretty much it. I showed you the document. I showed you the front end on Lancer Life. I showed you the back end. I will say whenever I think people submit something, it will also go ahead and drop an email into your student email address. So if you want to go ahead and go through it from there, you can, but I just prefer to go to Lancer Life, go to manage, go to forms, and just look at it in one list. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Are there any questions or concerns? Carrie, do you have anything you want to say?
No, not really. I mean, the reason we thank you for coming and the reason we want you to do this is because it really does. If you review these beforehand, then the meetings that we have go really quickly. Because at that point, everyone's already reviewed these things, and you know, if it's an all thumbs up, we'll take a look at it and then we'll just vote really quickly. So, and I also don't think that we're going to see a lot of requests coming through. I think this year is different in terms of funding. So we used to worry about funding limits and how much we can give clubs. I have a feeling that if we get a club that makes a really large request, we'll have to spend some time parsing that out, because last year I think we set a limit of like $1,000 per club. I don't know if we want to do that this year or just wait and see what comes up. And also the 15, please make sure that you're aware or you review those 15 different criteria that ICC has established for spending on items. So that way, you know, it kind of helps move the conversation along. But other than that, thank you all for coming, and thank you for volunteering, because it's important. A lot of your peers really want to get their funding. And I'm surprised we don't have one already in the works. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit about timing, because although the form is up on Lancer Life, I realize a lot of people haven't been exactly trained on it yet. So that's why we're waiting until maybe Monday or Tuesday around that time to send out the email to the link, yes, but also get people trained, which is required on how to use this form. So you'll be seeing pretty much the same exact thing, minus the back end part, on Monday or Tuesday if you come. So yeah, let me go ahead and then move on to the next item on our agenda here, which I think Karen and I want to go ahead and discuss with you all, because I know it's kind of a moving target, but let me share my screen again. Okay, so we moved on from that discussion item there. Future meeting dates and times is TBA. And for that future meeting date and time, Carrie, you said, so the reason behind why I think we should have a little bit more discussion about this is because on the agenda here, it says our VP of Business Affairs, Michael Garcia, he couldn't make it today, but in the future, I believe he has work on Fridays. So we want to make sure we accommodate him, because he's kind of the co-chair of this committee as along with me. So Carrie, you were saying that 4 p.m. just doesn't work for him, right?
Yeah, and I I hate to do this and make the recommendation. Could we possibly move this to 5 p.m. on Fridays? This is not my first choice, but I also recognize that I don't think we're going to have very many of these meetings. I think the time schedule will only allow us to have maybe 6 of these possible, because it's every other week. And then on top of that, if we all review our submissions prior to the meeting, the meetings won't be long. So I think the maximum number, because we're in week 4, Chris, or week 3.
We're in week, I don't know, time is just relative.
Yeah.
Now.
So we're in week 3.
Got an email saying week 3.
Yeah. So, and we will stop reviewing things about mid-May. So I really think that puts us at 5 meetings, 5 possible meetings. I guess what I'm trying to make it sound good, because who the hell wants to meet on Friday at 5 p.m. But if you all are free to meet on Friday at 5 p.m., that would allow Michael to join us.
Is that an okay time for everybody to meet at 5 instead?
I I actually get off at 4:30 from work on Fridays, but I should be able to make it at 5. So, but if anything, I'll be there at 5:05. If that's gonna be, I hope that's not gonna be a problem or something. Because I leave from Burbank to drive to Alhambra, so I catch that traffic. But I'll be there around 5:05.
Okay, sure. And if there's any issue, getting on, I know Zoom has like a dial-in feature, so you can literally just call from your phone. I do that all the time. You
Yes,
can
I was
just be
gonna do
here and present.
that.
Okay, so 5 sounds good. Sylvia, what do you think about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
5 is good. I'm flexible.
Okay, so that means our next meeting is that, how come my taskbar isn't coming up? But our next meeting is next Friday. I'm bad with dates, so I don't know the time. Let me go and pull it up super quick. Oh, I have it right here. Okay, so our next meeting is Friday, March 12th at 5 p.m. and I'll go ahead and change the time in the calendar after this meeting, so you all have it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and tell Sophia too in an email, so we'll go ahead and get that done. But
Chris,
yes,
also, just to let you all know, if we don't have any requests, we don't meet. So we'll let, and the rule is that these have to be into us by Wednesday prior to that meeting. So if we don't get anything by that Wednesday, then just assume that the meeting has been canceled because there will be no reason to meet.
yeah, and I think what I'll do, we just recently hired an ICC secretary to kind of help take the load off. I'll have her keep an eye on the submissions. And then I'll have her let us know if there's anything that we need to review. I'll make that as one of her tasks. Okay, so with that said, we can go ahead and move on to adjournment. So yes, I would like to go ahead and now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 12:49 p.m. Friday, March 5th. Do I have a first?
Amend first the adjournment.
Third wave seconds.
Okay, I know Sylvia is here too, but I just want to go ahead and make one motion. So if there are any opposed to that motion, unmute yourself and say so. Any abstentions? Nope. Okay, motion passes. Thank you so much for coming. Let me stop the stream once it catches up, and then we can go ahead and yeah, move on. But I appreciate you all coming today. I know this was kind of not exactly last minute, but still, you know, I know I said our meeting would be in 2 weeks, but then I moved it up. So, but I do appreciate it. I just want to make sure we're on the same page with the procedure before, you know, before we delve into it. So